Good evening, everybody. Martin here from Profound Coaching. Welcome to another hour of power. And it's just so awesome to see so many listeners again on the call tonight. So thank you very much for your commitment once again. And really a warm welcome to all of the familiar faces and names on here, but also a really warm welcome to all the new attendees, and I can see we actually have quite a few new ones. So really once again, welcome to tonight's webinar. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to see how you're all going, and I'm sure there's a few more people joining us. So please share what's happened since we started the new year. What achievements did you celebrate? And perhaps even what challenges did you face in 2014? So just give me a bit of an update before we head into our webinar, how your communication is shaping your life. Yeah, there's a few highs coming through. Fantastic. What are some exciting news you want to share with the whole group? Yeah, awesome start. Fantastic. Great to hear. Back in the workforce with some communication challenges. Yeah, great. Yeah, you're on the right spot here. We're going to talk about communication for a whole hour. There's a bit of feedback coming through from familiar names who actually joined in with the goal setting, which we had, I believe it was in January, so last month. Set goals, signed up for the 10Ks run. Now need to start training. Yes, absolutely. We need to see some momentum happening. Let's do the do. What else is coming through here? Still on holiday mood? Still enjoying the nice weather? Yes. Good. So there's a few more people came on, and I think we should just straight go back into the actual topic. So let's get started with tonight's topic, and as I said, it's how your communication is shaping your life, which is, by the way, based on our listener request from last month's webinar as well. So thank you for providing us with valuable insights on what you require to move forward on your journey. So I think that is fantastic. Tonight we will focus on our thoughts. So let's have a bit of a look on what they are and how we can control them. We're also looking at the powerful NLP model, cause versus effect. Has all to do about words, language, and how we perceive our world. And we're also looking at different communication styles and how we can successfully engage pretty much with all different kind of people by speaking their language. We also have a few amazing activities planned for tonight. One is physiology creates psychology, and there's also one which focuses on how we can change our linguistics in an instant, which will also positively impact our future long term. So I hope you're all up for some fun, for some learnings, and just trying a few new things on and see how it works in our life. But before we start, before we comment though, please let me mention, as usual, most of you heard it, for the new members, I actually plan to record this session. So please, if you prefer to stay anonymous, do not offer to be taken off mute. And if you wish to take some notes, you may also do so by clicking the field on the top of your screen. These notes will be emailed to you after the webinar, or perhaps You just prefer your own favorite notebook. So make sure you can take some notes all the way through when you have some light bulb moments, that you can reflect on it a bit further down the track. You also can send me some questions, and that is pretty much on the left hand side of your screen. Just choose the drop down option send to presenter, and I will ensure that your questions will be all answered throughout the webinar. So I highly recommend that you're engaging tonight so you get as much value out as possible. Great, so let's start, and can you just give me some thumbs up? You also have a few moods, my mood up there in your toolbar. Can you please give me some thumbs up if you can see actually my screen? Yeah, there's a few thumbs coming up. Awesome. Are there any thumbs down? No, everybody. Beautiful. So the techniques, the technology works as well. Beautiful. So let's go straight into the first slide. And as I said, we're going to talk about our thoughts. And it's very important to understand that there's a lot of research done in the past, and the fact is that we have over 60,000 thoughts in a day. I guess the question really is, what are they? We have them all the time, but how can we define them? What is it? What's happening in our brain? How would you describe them? Somebody wants to have a crack at it? And most likely you're just doing it right now. There's a lot of thoughts going through your mind, but how do we describe them? Oh, there's a person just popping through that there is no screen. So I'm not too sure if that's from your end. Everybody else actually pretty much have the thumbs up, so I'm not too sure how I can assist you with that one. I get some answers through self-talk. Yes, self-talk, absolutely. Okay, so there is some technical issues there. Let's see if we can do something from this particular end. But just stay with me, I play a bit around, but I'll continue with the webinar if that's all fine with you. Okay, so maybe the connection, maybe it's just a bit weak, so let's give it a few seconds. I'll pop that screen up again and see what's happening. I hope you're going to be part of it this time around. Good, coming back to the thoughts, how would you describe them? Can it be that thinking is nothing else than simply asking yourself questions and you're just doing it? Is that true? What does that mean? And that's a really good question. What does it mean? What does it mean if actually our thoughts are nothing else than asking ourselves questions? Fantastic. So there's a few people getting the screen now. Pleased to hear that. Awesome. What does it mean? Actually, it means, and that's a very important part, and you may want to write that down. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. That's a big statement. So the quality of your questions, or the quality of your life, is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. So what is the quality? We have a low quality questions, we also have high quality questions. So let's focus a bit more on that particular area. How often do you guys perhaps ask yourself, why does that happen to me? Why always me? So the why questions are the very low quality questions. The why question puts you straight into the victim mode, in other words, and simply justifies why the things are the way they are. But nothing changes. It becomes quite often an excuse. And this only creates really an identity for you which you just don't want to have. As I mentioned, it is the identity of a victim which doesn't have, or the victim which doesn't have choice. Versus high quality questions. And if we're talking about high quality questions, we're talking about the how and the what questions. In other words, how can I overcome this challenge? What do I need to learn about myself to be able to change the situation? And therefore, what do I need to do? So the how and the what questions are high quality questions because those questions provide you with solutions to your challenges. This will bring you into the identity of victor. So victor coming from victory, the winner, in other words. And you might wonder why I have two wolves on the slides. Any idea? Somebody heard about the story of the black and the white wolf? I'll tell you the story, and I think there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of meaning in that story, which is actually from an old wise Cherokee Indians. And the story started when a group of Cherokee children actually gathered around their grandfather. They are filled with excitement and curiosity. And that day there has been a conflict within the tribe between two adults, and the grandfather was called to mediate because he was the old wise Cherokee. So the children are very eager to hear what he was saying or what he had to say about the conflict. And one of the children actually popped the question and said, "Grandfather, why do people actually fight?" And the grandfather said, "Well, we all have two wolves inside of us. They are in our chest. And these wolves are constantly fighting with each other." So the eyes of the children have really grown by now, and one of the kids says, "In our chest too, grandfather?" And he said, "Yes, in your chest too." And another one said, "And even in your chest, grandfather?" And he said, "Yes, in my chest too." So there's a black and a white wolf. The black wolf is actually filled with fear, anger, envy, jealousy, greed, arrogance. Whereas the white wolf is filled with peace, love, hope, courage, compassion, and faith. So they battle constantly. Then he stops, and the children really ask, and they're like, "So, but grandfather, which of the wolves actually gonna win?" And the grandfather simply replies, "The one that we feed." So let's share, what did you learn out of that story? What did you learn out of this particular metaphor? Let's exchange some insights. What does that mean to you? Nice story, isn't it? Yes. It's talking about our thoughts, yes. Somebody says that I can relate to the story. And it's true, it's not so hard to resonate with the feelings of anger, jealousy, envy, and greed. These emotions can really have the power over us, and we can see how we keep fueling them and feed them quite often. And it seems, or it appears quite often, that it is actually hard to snap out of it. What you focus on becomes stronger. Absolutely, well said. So what really resonates for me, and I'll have a bit of a crack here as well, what really sticks with me is that we do have choice. We have the choice. We can actually starve the black wolf, and we can start feeding the white wolf at any given time. So every single second we actually have a second chance to change things around if they are not useful, if they are moving us away from what we want, rather than moving us towards pleasure, in other words, to what we want. Fantastic. Great. So let's go into the next thing, and I want to explain you a bit further the statements, as we just said. I want to give you some feedback on the quality of your life is determined the quality of the questions you ask yourself. So how or why is the thoughts, or why are the thoughts so powerful? So let's think about it, and Buddha said it nicely. All that we are is a result of what we have thought. And everything starts with a thought. Nothing can exist without the thought beforehand. The thought is what actually guides us towards new ideas. So we're starting with the thoughts, as you can see on the slide here. And the thoughts, think about if you're feeding the black wolf or you're feeding the white wolf, what's happening inside of your body? I see we have some people here who are really switched on. Yes, it creates emotions. Can we say that we're feeding the white wolf? We create an emotion of positive reinforcement, positive possibilities, in other words, versus our thoughts feeding the black wolf, where everything gets really heavy. It's hard, it's almost paralyzing. Or, on the other hand, we're wasting a lot of energy by burning it by anger, rage, frustration, which is also part of the black wolf. So we create an emotion. And just to demonstrate how powerful language is, the NLP, the neuro-linguistic programming, so the linguistic part of NLP, what words do you see in the word emotion? What other word is hidden in the word emotion? Yes, got that one as well. Fantastic. Motion. In other words, it's the action, it's the momentum to do, to move forward, to get towards the outcome. So yes, and can we say that the emotion we have, if it's a light emotion, positive emotion, can we say that there's way more action? Because it's so much easier and it feels so easy to get things done. Versus feeding the black wolf, heavy emotions, dragging us down, the chain around the neck, the bricks on your back, the pain, the chronic pain which comes in, the procrastination, the fear of failure. How much action can there be? So we're reducing the action a lot. And out of the action, doing the do, whoever joined in over the last few months in the webinars, I'm sure you guys remember, the action ultimately creates the results. So that really, in a very simple way to explain, it all starts with a thought and depends on which wolf you're going to feed. It depends on what results you're actually going to achieve. Any questions so far? No, get a few thumbs up there. Great. Fantastic feedback. It's simple. Yes, it is simple, and I love simplicity. I love simplicity. Quite often we are so good in overcomplicating things where we get lost and it all becomes too confusing and too hard. I do love the simplicity, and I quite often believe we need to go back to basics. We need to simplify things in life, and that's where things starts to happen. Thanks for all these comments coming through all the way. That's great. So can we say that therefore taking 100% responsibility of your thoughts and therefore your results? Is that a statement we can all agree on? Again, pretty simple. And as we learned, we do have choice in life. Great. Which brings us into the next model. And the next model is actually called cause and effect. So how often do we using the words? And I want you to really focus on the language, the words you use over the next week perhaps, to get aware of your thoughts and what's going on in your head, the self-talk. How often do we ask words like failure, problems, fear, where we use excuses, etc. So all the words, or a variety of words, which I just showcase here on my PowerPoint. As more we're using any of those words, as more we are actually what we call at effect by our environment, affected by our partner, your family, your boss, your workplace, the whole universe. There's a lot of blame, in other words. Blaming others. Excuses. Once I have more support. Blaming time. Once I have more time. Once I have more finance, I will do it. But the thing, quite often we're chasing our tail. It's never going to happen. Because of the language, because of the thoughts we use. And coming back to the first slide. If this appears in your head over 60,000 times, I mean, that's worst case scenario, and I'm sure everybody has a white wolf as well which they feed. But if your black wolf is fed predominantly more than half or more than 50%, that means we have about pretty much more than 30,000 negative thoughts a day. Can you imagine the impact on your life by thinking over 30,000 times negative emotions? The fear, the blame, the excuses, the failure, where you react to what's happened to you. Yeah, we call that below the line thinking, and it does not bring us any further in life. In fact, it actually holds us back, and it does shrink our comfort zone. And that can even lead to overwhelm, and quite often that's where anxiety comes in. So what you need to do to shape your life in a successful and an extraordinary way is actually you need to move at what we call cause. That's where the sun comes out, which is called the above the line thinking. This is where you change your profound mindset for success. Changing your profound mindsets for success by understanding that there is no failure, that there's only feedback. So as you can see, I just replaced the failure, the light blue, now with my mindset of, no, there's only feedback. Where you are only interested in solutions, as an example, rather than wasting your times on the problem. Why does it always happen to me? Where you try to justify the problem. You shouldn't be really interested in the problem in the first place. It's a waste of time quite often. It keeps us back. It is holding us back from doing what we need to do, which is finding solutions. That's where the energy needs to go, in providing solutions for the future. Where you start doing the do. In other words, where you start to take action rather than sitting on the couch procrastinating in front of the TV perhaps. Where you're feeding the fear as well. Remember the black wolf? I'm sure you do. So where you're focusing on achieving results. Achieving results rather than looking for excuses. This is where you are driving your own bus. You are not sitting in the back row somewhere. No, you are driving the bus and you take full responsibility for your action and for the destination you choose. You decide who gets on the bus and who doesn't. Who gets that concept? Do you like it? Send me through some feedback, any questions you may have. Do you need more clarity in regards to cause and effect? What are your thoughts? I love it. Yes, some people have been thrown off the bus. Yes, and sometimes it has to happen. It sometimes has to happen. I'm not saying it has, well, it has to. It depends if you don't want them on there, they had their chances, you're moving on. Sometimes it's better to let go and to focus on new things. Absolutely. Thank you for the reminder. Love it. Thanks for the comment. Absolutely. And I do see the problem sometimes. You just use the problem. It can appear as a problem of saying, yeah, but hang on, if I'll take 100% responsibility, who do I gonna blame for? Well, there's nobody else to blame for than yourself. Do you have to blame yourself? Well, that's the next question. Why would you blame yourself? I insist, dearly believe that people do the best they can with the resources they have. So how can there be any blame in the first place? It is through feedback, through things which are perhaps not working the way we meant to or planned to, it is where we can actually learn out of it. So how can that be failure? Thomas Edison said it nicely in an interview once. He was interviewed and somebody asked him, he said, how does it feel to actually fail 9,999 times before you were able to create the light bulb? And he said, what are you talking about? I never ever failed. Every single attempt I had brought me one step closer to invent the light bulb. So how can there be any failure? And I think this is spot on. Great thinking. Awesome. So let's move on. If you don't have any more questions, we're going into the next slide. And that's pretty straightforward. Already what we've learned within the first 20-25 minutes, you need to understand that you are in control of your thoughts. Nobody else. It's you who control the thoughts. So therefore, you are the big boss. You are the president of your own brand, of You Incorporated. How does that sound? Laughing out loud. I love it. Sounds good to me. Yes, absolutely. How empowering is it that you know that you actually can cause things to happen? That you are in control of your mind and therefore can make really good, high quality decisions by moving towards the goals, presupposing you're very clear on your goals, which we covered in our last workshop last month with the goal setting exercise. Fantastic. Now, the next topic is about physiology creates psychology. I need to clarify a few things. Now, we spoke about the thoughts, we spoke about the linguistic, we spoke about the words. Now, on that slide, I actually tell you that the words are only 7% of your whole communication. And yes, roughly it is 7%. And you already see how important those 7% are. Because the 7%, the psychology creates the physiology, but it's also the other way around. The physiology also creates the psychology. By having positive thoughts, you have a better physiology. You're walking more upright. You increase your self-esteem, your self-love. And on top, you can also tackle the challenge on the other end by saying, I become very aware of my physiology. So from now on, I'm not walking with my shoulders hanging down in front of me, head down. Now I'm walking as the person perhaps on the slide. straight back, shoulders back, head straight forward, looking into the future, not looking into the ground. Yeah? Fantastic. And I want to do an activity, and I really encourage you to all participate with that particular activity. It's a very short one. You can do it on your own, and I'll just guide you through. And the first part, maybe it's not very pleasant, but what I want you to do is just push your chair back a bit, and I want you to lean forward, and I want you to maybe put your arms on your legs with your head down, between your legs almost. And I want you to think of, and I use deliberately the word problem. I want you to think of a current problem you have right now. I want you to see what you saw at the time. I want you to hear what was said at the time. I want you to access this negative self-talk which went on at the time. And I want you to focus really on how you're feeling. I want you to feel that weight on your shoulders. I want you to feel how heavy the energy gets, how paralyzing it is. And I know it's not a nice feeling, but I want you to memorize that particular emotion because of your thoughts you're choosing, because of the negative self-talk, because you're using the why question. And I'm sure everybody's there. So just finish that exercise, or the first part of that exercise, and just shoot me through a few words. What popped up? How do you feel? How would you describe the emotion, the state you were in just before? Give me some feedback. Yeah, just shoot me through a few words. Sad, heavy, negative, not the place I want to be. Thought of these feelings this morning, felt hopeless, weighed down, don't like it at all. I'm amazed how quickly it all happened. I wasn't even trying very hard. Just listening to you makes me chuck. So we all agree it's a very powerful thing. We have the power to choose the thoughts, the self-talk, the physiology, and therefore the psychology. So of course I'm not here to make you feel bad, and of course the powerful thing gonna happen now. So let's put that chair back, and I actually encourage you to stand up. So just stand up. You may have to take the headphones off if it's not long enough. Stand up. Take on that particular physiology of excellence from that person on the slide. Straight posture, shoulders straight back or slightly back, tummy in, and I want you to look up on the ceiling now. And I'm actually just curious, really, if you can you see that smiley up there? That smiley face, just on the ceiling, just up there? Yeah, there. Just above you. Come on, guys, just imagine it. There's a smiley face, and just laugh at it. Have some fun here with the exercise. Is it actually a pink one? I can't really see. Is it a pink one or is it purple? And it doesn't really matter. Just have a look, have a smile at it, and show me some gum. Really show me some gum. Yeah? And the key comes here. I want you, with the state you're in now, have some fun, look at the smiley, smile back at the smiley, and I want you to think of the same problem as you did before. You keep looking up, you keep smiling, and you have some gum out there, and I want to see that gum. And it doesn't matter how ridiculous it feels, you're all by yourself there and I actually can't see you, so just go ahead and do it. And I want you to notice what is going on within you. Yeah? Fantastic. So let's just sit down and let's share some information here. What did we just learn? Laughing out loud, yes. What did we just learn? Lighter. Yes, give me some more feedback. I can't take the problem serious anymore. The imaginary smiley puts a smile on my face straight away. Yes, what's happened to the problem? I can see your big smile. Problem seems lighter. I love that one. What problem? Is it not beautiful? What a beautiful comment. What problem? Question mark. What has changed? What has changed between the problem, the actual facts of the problem? What has changed? Nothing. Nothing has changed at all. The only thing has changed is you perceiving what we call the problem, which is suddenly not a problem anymore because you're approaching the challenge, you're approaching the feedback you got above the line thinking from a completely different angle. So, how powerful is that exercise? What did you just learn? And most important, how will you implement that in your daily life? How powerful is it to know what we just did? Clearly demonstrate I have choice. I can make a problem go away if I choose to. Well said, if you choose to. Why would you not choose to get rid of a problem? If that's the case, we need to talk about secondary gain, but that's another topic which we can cover another time. If you stay in the victim mode and you get something out of it, this is called secondary gain. I can choose on how I'm gonna react. Well said. And that is the certainty within us. And some of you guys have heard me saying that before. The real certainty, a resourceful certainty you have within yourself, it is pretty much on how you perceive an issue or the meaning you give to an event, and therefore how you're gonna respond to. Does it gonna make you really righteous, outrageous, and angry? Does it make you sad? Does it gonna tickle your little toe? Same issue, same challenge, I completely changed by choosing to give it a different meaning. So please guys, all of you out there, whenever you identify yourself going into version 1, doing the negative self-talk, you have the power to interrupt that thinking. You now have conscious awareness of what you're doing it. And if it doesn't suit you, you change it. You have the power. Yes, I can make a problem go away. What problem? I love that comment. What problem? What seems to be really heavy? What problem? Within a few seconds by a simple but very powerful exercise. Awesome. Another activity I want to go through, I really want to engage you today, and what we're going to look at, because we have the theory behind it, we're going to look at changing negative impact to positive impact. Frustrated. What words could you use to achieve a positive effect on how you perceive an event? As we said, it's the meaning you give. So what would be a positive impact, or a more positive impact than frustrated? I like that comment, very profound indeed. Challenged. Yes, absolutely. I like that idea. Challenged. Yes. A challenge is a good thing. Absolutely. Much better than frustrated. Stimulated. Yes. Absolutely. How could we change terrified, scared, furious? We can all chuck them all in one bin. Get rid of it. How are we going to replace it? Looking forward to a challenge. Yes. Similar. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody says, I'll tickle your little toe. And it's interesting because that's actually what I wrote down here. So I'm going a bit ahead of things, but that's where it came from. Yes. How are we going to do it? Tickle my little toe. Slightly concerned. Well, perhaps that is a bit of a challenge. And even there, we didn't really go into details with the previous slide, but it's also the actual tonality you choose. Where you can say, oh, this is really challenging, or yeah, it's actually, a bit challenging. So what? So it's also the timbre, it's the tonality, it's the energy behind the word you're choosing. Excited, I love it. How exciting is it to have a challenge in life? Without challenge, how can you feel good? If the only thing divides you from where you are today to where you want to go, to your desired outcome, if the only thing that divides those 2 points is time, how proud would you be of yourself if you could just lie back on the couch, procrastinate, and just waiting for the things to happen? You wouldn't allow yourself to feel proud. So the challenge presupposes that the challenge must be there so we can overcome the challenge to get to the outcome. And that is exciting. Well done. Fantastic feedback. Guys, thank you very much for making it so pleasant, the whole webinar, the engagement. I love it. Absolutely loving it. So next exercise here. Quite often we're talking, we like to fit in. We're doing the tribal thing. We're doing the ritual to make sure we are not judged. We're doing what the other people do just to have that sense of belonging. Quite often that is where we're stuck in mediocrity. Depends on how you look at it, of course. No judgment on that side. I always say, if you're happy with what you're doing and if the certainty is suiting you well and this is what you want and this is what you practice, don't change the things which are working for you. However, if the certainty takes over to do the things you want to do or would like to do, then you need to address the issue. So how could you, in that case, how could you move from mediocrity or mediocre language into extraordinary language? There's actually already a few comments coming through before I'm asking for it, and this is just absolutely fabulous. And yes, fabulous by itself. That could be, oh, I'm not bad. Yeah, I'm good. Mediocrity. Make a statement. Awesome, phenomenal, fantastic, great. Fantastic, yeah, I got that one. Beautiful. Awesome. It's too hard. How often do we use that one? It's too hard. Why don't give it a shot? Just have a crack at it. Because by now you know there's no failure, there's only feedback. Feedback so we can learn from it, so we become a better version of ourselves. It's called evolution, it's called growth, which is one of the 6 core needs. We must see growth. Either we grow or we die. The brain either grows or the brain cells die. There's nothing between. We can't just maintain. We can't just be the way we are, because the environment and everything around us changes constantly. Therefore, we need to keep up with the changes to maintain it. So there must be growth, even if you want to maintain it. And maybe that was a bit confusing, but I'll leave that with you. Right. Now I want to go into the communication style a bit here, and really what I want to focus on, I mean, communication, we could talk for days. It's such a fascinating topic. But what I want to focus on is the chunking size. The chunking size. How many times you may have a conversation with a person and you think, oh my God, is that person boring? I can't listen to this guy or girl. She's going on and on and on, and it's just, where's the point? We quite often looking at a person which loves specificity. They are motivated by details. Details, quite often, and I stereotype here, I do know, but accountants, bookkeepers, lawyers, IT programmers, because a slash, a wrong number in the wrong box can destroy the whole format. It's a good thing for them because they need to be in that specificity to be good on what they do in life. On the other hand, we have the people with the big vision. So the other scenario is where a specific person talks to a Y person with vision. They're most likely going to be completely overwhelmed and say, this guy is so vague, or this girl is so vague. What are they talking about? It doesn't make sense. Can you slow down? Can you give me more feedback? And that may remind you on some business meetings you had in the past. The director, the CEO, the financial manager comes up with this big vision, one year, 5-year goal, and there will be people in there who say, but hang on, how are we going to do it? Where do we get all the information from? What is the first step we need to implement? It's way too high. I need more information. Complete overwhelm. And in that case, that particular person quite often is holding back the vision of the company. They like to have answers for the whole 5 years within 5 minutes. And of course, that's not really possible. So let's go a step further, and we call that in NLP, we call that the hierarchy of ideas. Now, the hierarchy of ideas pretty much focuses on the chunking size. What we're looking for here, and this is something you need to write down. Again, a very simple process, but this is where a lot of money is, where people are in management position because they are aware of the hierarchy of ideas. We're looking at the abstract. That's the why question. Remember, I know before I said the why questions are the low quality questions. They are low quality questions in relation to finding reason and excuses. The why question, on the other hand, are very good by finding our goal, our desired outcome, our vision and our mission. The purpose in our life. What is the legacy we want to leave behind? Abstract. We have the specificity, and there's a lot, because it is specifically on what, how, where, when, and the who. And we also have what we call the lateral thinking. Other examples. The what else. The what else. If you are comfortable with the hierarchy of ideas, if you can, what we call chunking up into the abstract, chunking down into the specifics, or chunking across into other examples, you can explore so many possibilities within a company. You can manage a conversation into the right direction. Yeah? So let's have a look more specifically, chunking down here, on how we can do it specifically. I actually had a bit of a chat this morning with a client about the hierarchy of ideas, and I said, this is where you can, and actually, well, not really, what was it? I recall, this is where you can get a connection between vegetables and inner peace within a few minutes or seconds. And we had a bit of a fun, but we didn't really go into details. But we can maybe do the exercise so you can see how powerful the hierarchy of ideas is. And I just have a bit of a crack and explain as good as I can on how it works. So I said we're starting with vegetables, and the outcome is inner peace. Now, you may gonna laugh about that and you think, what's going on here? But just have a listen and really follow the different step, and I'm sure it makes sense to you once we're gonna get there. So we said the starting point of the meeting is vegetable, and the outcome of the meeting is that we want to achieve inner peace. I start here, and I hope you can see the cursor, the mouse here on the screen. Vegetables. I would say let's chunk it down. Let's go a bit up and down and sideways to give you the feeling of it. Vegetables. Let's go into the specifics. I would ask, so what type of vegetables are there? Well, we have pulses, and I just chunking across. What else do we have? What other vegetables do we have? Well, we have flower vegetables. We have what else? We have leaf vegetables. What else? We have root vegetables. So that's called the lateral thinking. I can chunk down into the specifics now. Root vegetables. What type of root vegetables are there? Well, there are parsnips. Oh, what else? Lateral. What else are there? Well, there are carrots as well. What else? There are potatoes. Ah, potatoes. So what's the purpose of having potatoes? Well, the potatoes they give us, and I'm chunking up for the first time, potatoes are there to give us nutrition. Nutrition? What specifically? What type of nutrition are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about vitamin B, I'm talking about starch. Ah, starch. And I just chunked across here. Starch. For what purpose? Why do we need starch in our diet? And I'm chunking up now into the abstract. We need starch so we have energy. And what is the higher intention? Why do we need energy in our life? We need energy to burn, to actually do the action, to do the momentum, the motion. Okay, and what specifically you want to do, or what action specifically do you going to take? So I'm chunking down. Well, I want to change the world. And why do you want to change the world? So let's go up, and do you see how we get closer and closer to the inner peace? And I'm sure I'm going to get there, so just hang on a minute. I want to change the world. Why do you want to change the world? What's the highest intention? I want to change the world to make this planet a better place. And why is that so important to you? Because I want to experience some freedom. And once you have the freedom, what will that give you? It will give me fulfillment. And once you have the fulfillment, ultimately what this is all about, it's about inner peace. Fascinating, isn't it? So it just went from vegetables through chunking up and down in a different ways, and we ended up with inner peace. Is everybody confused now? You know how you can apply it? There's a question mark coming through. Fair enough, absolutely. I like the exercise, but I have no idea how you got there. Yeah, I can't really recall it either, but we got there in the end. It is, and think about, this is such a powerful tool, and I want you to practice that in your own living room. You may even want to make a beautiful game out of it. This is what I've done with a few friends. What you can do is, and I'll just quickly guide you through, what you can do is really, you can have two people facing each other. You put another person at the back of one, and that person at the back is actually putting the thumb up, sideways or down. The other person needs to talk the language, particularly to abstract other examples or specifics, and the person which is listening needs to synchronize, or needs to be able to synchronize the first person, which indicates what's happening, so they clearly finalize what's really going on. Yeah. Now I'll give you a bit of an easier feedback, and I think that was a bit fun, the exercise, just to make a point. But think about, quite often we have conflicts because we are way too much in the specifics. if you have mediation or if you're doing coaching or counseling, quite often I use that myself with clients, we need to chunk them up. If you have two people who struggle with each other, it's most likely because they have different opinions on the how. If you chunk them both up, you eventually will get to the same outcome, because we are all human beings and we all want love, peace, fulfillment, so on and so on. I'll give you an example. I believe everybody wants world peace. Yeah? World peace. Even Miss Universe, world peace. They're doing that because they want to have agreement of the people who vote, of course. World peace. You can't go wrong with world peace. Everybody agrees. Once you have an agreement frame, so both parties agree, you start to chunk down. Chunking down means you're focusing on, okay, how do we going to get to world peace? And you will realize as further down you go, as more you create a conflict, as more negative emotion creeps in, as more people feel they are at cause or effect. If you feel that this is the case and you're stuck, you remind them that both parties have the same outcome and want to achieve the same outcome. That takes the pressure off, that takes the negative emotions away to explore what else, lateral thinking, what other opportunities, what other examples are around which could be used to achieve world peace. And you're going to explore the whole map, and I'm sure with the hierarchy of ideas you will always find a way pretty much to get there. Fantastic. I'm very cautious of my time and we're almost there. I just have a bit of a cruise ship here to indicate as a metaphor. I'll give you just one example and I'll leave the rest to you. Think about where the captain is allocated up there. He is on the front. He is high up there because he needs to have a vision and a purpose, and he needs to be very clear on where he's heading towards. He needs to know the destination. Very abstract. The specificity happens on the bottom of the cruise ship. The mailing room, the laundry, the chefs who need to have a lot of structure, a lot of procedures. They need to work very specifically. And you see quite often who really gets paid money these days. Quite often it is the people who have ideas. It is about intellectual property these days. And I'm sure and trust that helps. Fantastic. One more thing to wrap it up, and this is the literal and the inferential listening and speaking style. Now what that means is we have an inferential and literal listening style. So an inferential listener will interpret what is communicated to them and will act accordingly to the meaning they give to the communication. So when you communicate with them, expect the inferential listener to fill in any blanks. Whereas the literal listener, he will just or she will just do what you tell them to do word for word. Yeah? So I'll have a bit of fun here, and maybe that sounds familiar to you. There can be some conflicts as well if an inferential and a literal listener communicate, or both the same. The example I want to give you is inferential. It is a bit more feminine energy, so I use the example as a female, and the literal, which is more masculine energy, I use it in my example as male. Having said that, it can be the other way around as well, of course. You may say, or a female may say, "Oh honey, I really have such a headache." And there's just silence. What the inferential person actually says is, "Can you please get me a Panadol or a Nurofen?" The literal person doesn't understand it. If the literal is slightly adjusted to inferential because they're living together for a long time, he may ask the inferential, "Oh honey, do you want me to get a Panadol?" And the inferential person would say, "Ah, no, it's okay, don't worry." And he will not worry, and he will keep watching the footy, the cricket, whatever it is. And I'm sure you get my drift. And maybe a bit of a laugh. Versus two blokes. I stick with the literal masculine. Versus the two blokes. Hey buddy, I'm really having a headache. Go and get me a Panadol. And what would the guy say? The other guy say? Go and get it yourself. So quite often it's very literal, very outspoken, very confronting, especially to an inferential person. So what you can take out of it is you need to understand who you're talking to and you need to adjust your communication skills accordingly. If you're an inferential speaker and you're talking to a literal person, be very clear on what you task them on. Say it as it is. You're doing him or the person a favor as well as yourself. If you are a literal or if you're a literal person and you're talking to an inferential person, you may need to pull back a bit and you may need to say, it would be really great if you could. So they can put the pieces together and get you the Panadol. And they have the sensory acuity to really get it for you. That's for my part. And it's amazing. The whole hour is already over. Just to finish it off, please, as usual, share with me for a few minutes. What did you learn? What can you implement right away? Or if you have any questions, any comments, feedbacks, please shoot it through and I'm more than happy. For the people who need to head off, I completely understand. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for coming along, popping in again and being part of the webinar. Fantastic. I'm going to share a few more upcoming events with you. If you want to stick around, that would be fantastic. But first of all, please just shoot through some feedback, questions, and most important, what can you implement right away? Typing, yeah. My thoughts are very powerful and I'm in control of it. Fantastic. Like the hierarchy of ideas, needs practicing, absolutely. Finding the right style when talking to people so we speak the same language, well said. And it is about respecting the other person's map, that's exactly what it is. That was very profound. We'll definitely be using the chunking up and chunking down. Yeah, please. And it is, the key is in learning, implementing and teaching it somebody else. If you go through those 3 steps, learn, implement, teach, it will become part of you. And as more you're doing it, as more easy it is, and you also will be easily and effortlessly, you will be able to come from vegetables to inner peace within a few chunks. Well done. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Once again, a lot of insights. Very conscious of thoughts and feelings at the moment. Got to keep reminding myself I'm in control. Yes, you are, nobody else. And remember the metaphor, you are driving your bus. Love the literal and inferential. We'll be looking out for that in conversations too. Yes, you get so much more outcome by speaking other people's language. You become an expert of communication and you will see the outcome is so much better. It is more efficient. It will flow. It will really flow. It is all about communication. Absolutely. And as we said, communication, it's the human connection. It is the key to personal and career success. You can use communication in any areas of your life. Fantastic. So just to wrap it up, I really want to share with you 2 events for the time being. One is the next month's webinar. So please, if you enjoyed tonight's webinar, please register. You can actually register right away. It's all set up for next month. It is the 12th of March 2014. Please be aware that we had to change slightly the time for the next 2 months. We're gonna have the webinars from 6:30 to 7:30, and the topic, I always have something to talk about, something profound, but I would much appreciate if you can send some feedback through, and I'll make sure we're gonna accordingly create the webinar for you so you get most value. Just pop to our profoundcoaching.com.au/events/website to register again. And one event which is really close to my heart is the event which comes up, our relationship event, and what a terrific gift perhaps for your relationship for Valentine's Day. Why are you not joining us with your partner for this extraordinary event? There's a great opportunity really to get together in the new, as you can see, Dolly View Estate, which is just a picture on the top right corner, where we have a synergy of a beautiful, relaxing environment with education. The whole event, I'm really excited about that. The event is on a Saturday, it's the 22nd of March, and it's from 1 to 6 o'clock. So if you have kids, whatever, and I know there's a lot of sports activity going on, shopping, you can do that perhaps early in the morning. You're going to be ready for the event at 1 o'clock latest. We're going to serve from 5 o'clock onwards. We're going to serve a beautiful afternoon tea where you can communicate and catch up with the facilitator. By the way, that's going to be me, and I hope that's a good thing. Yes, actually, I'm sure it is. And what's happened there, you also get a discount if you choose to stay overnight. So you want to spend some more time at the Olive and stay till Sunday. The Olive actually offered a discount for all the attendees of that particular relationship workshop. So really, if you want to take your relationship up a notch, and there's always growth and improvement of a relationship, please join us or have a look first of all on our profoundrelationship.com.au website, which is a new website. Browse around and you can actually get tickets straight from our website. We really get a bit web savvy by now. Thank you to my beautiful wife Gerda, which is really switched on with all that part of our business. We also have a special for that particular event, which gives you a saving of $50 if you sign up before Valentine's Day. So really take advantage of the offer and say yes to your relationship. That's pretty much it from my side. If you have any questions, go on our Facebook website, pop in the questions there. I'm more than happy to answer any of those ones later on. Yeah, so please stay tuned. Maybe you also want to like our Profound website. Once again, thank you very much for sharing your insights, for being part of the webinar, for your contribution with all the comments you sent through. Thank you very much from my end, and of course from my beautiful wife as well, which is more and more part of our community. So for now, thank you very much once again, and as always, be good and be brilliant, and we're going to talk soon. Take care. Thanks. Thank you. Fantastic. Awesome. Much appreciated. Thanks.
Your line is now muted.